Well. Age of History 3 is finally out, and is much better than Age of History 2. For those who don't know, Age of History is a grand strategy game with multiple world scenarios to choose from, allowing players to pick any country on the map, grow an economy, and wage war. Conceptually, Age of History 2 is not different from Age of History 3. The games are very similar in style, and the philosophy of both games fundamentally hasn't changed at all. I have played almost 12 hours and can give you a full review of this game. I have explored all the mechanics, from colonizing new provinces in North America to dropping a nuclear warhead onto my enemies. Thus, welcome to my channel. I would very much appreciate if you would subscribe and like this video, as that would make me very happy indeed. Ultimately, the most noticeable change in Age of History 3 is that the game is now in real time. Units move in real time, and every state, every country is developing at the same time as you. This is drastic change compared to its predecessor, where the game was turn-based. I would say that this is the most influential evolution of this game theories, as this style of gameplay is popular among players who enjoy paradox games but might not have the means to buy them or run them. This is the only real structural and foundational change to this game, which to me seems like a missed opportunity from the developer's perspective. The developer Lucas could have added more in-depth mechanics. Sure, the resources were added, but they don't have any real impact on the economy. It would have been more meaningful to add a simple logistical chain, for example. As a potential buyer, you should know that this isn't a Paradox or Civ game. It's an Age of History with some Europa Universalis style war mechanics and real-time gameplay. The game has added depth if you compare it to Age of History 2, but it could have become a direct competitor to Paradox grand strategy games if multiplayer was implemented. The game is extremely modifiable, and at its core is a framework for modders, which would greatly increase the replayability. That said, the game has introduced a lot of new mechanics, including an extensive research tree that spans the entire gameplay, from the ancient world to the modern tanks and robots. I've played both the modern day and the ancient scenarios, and the key difference is that starting in the modern day means that the research tree is nearly complete. All you really do is spam tiles with money to boost development, economy, and population growth, while in the ancient era you start with a blank research slate. It gives me that drive to develop, build, and research, to defend myself and expand my influence. Speaking of expansion and influence, Age of History 3 had changed how military works. Though the difference isn't huge for players, army control is actually the same as in the previous game. I still control the individual armies that I create, but I can't set up any meaningful front lines. Again, Lucas missed another chance to add a useful mechanic here. He could have included frontlines researched through the research tree as a way to expand the game's strategic depth. Additionally, the army limit was a real problem during my world conquest. Once I reached the limit, my army maintenance increased by 300%, which heavily slowed my expansion. This measure is clearly designed to keep players in check. Yes, you can increase the army limit by upgrading military academies, but after maximizing them out, the only option is to spam provinces with local manpower to raise the limit. I assume this limit ties closely to the infamy mechanic, which punishes expansionist players who might be dismantled by a coalition of states if they push too far. Now, speaking about one of the most important aspects of the game, the economy, and how it have been reworked and incorporated into Age of History 3. In summary, the economy has improved, in my view, because economic development in a single tile is now slower, taking decades to develop before providing any meaningful output. The second change is the introduction of buildings, which can be built in each tile to boost its effectiveness not only in economic values but also in research points and legacy points. Legacy points are a special currency in the game, representing the achievements and milestones of a civilization over time. Essentially, it's just another currency that can be spent alongside gold. In total, there are 42 buildings in the game, each providing various bonuses: 18 economic buildings, 9 military, and 15 administrative. While all of this adds some complexity to the game, it doesn't actually offer any choices. You're just expected to build everything. Lucas could have designed a system where certain buildings prevent the construction of others, giving players the ability to designate a tile's purpose. For example, Age of History 3 is essentially a new game with different and new mechanics, which do add a new layer to the game in the short term. However, those mechanics are fundamentally blunt and shallow. The game doesn't show any shift in its paradigm. As I've reiterated multiple times, is a missed opportunity. The game has bugs, and some of the new mechanics feel too simple or unnecessary, like the mission tab that every country has. The mission provides minor bonuses for completing in-game achievements, but nothing more. On the opposite side, I think it's a huge step forward for Age of History 3 compared to its predecessor. This game has introduced an extensive research tree, new buildings, an armor creation system with a simple armor composer, and added events to increase gameplay's versatility. I would say it's worth the money, but don't expect anything groundbreaking. It's a game that will keep you entertained and offer simplified grand strategy experience. All in all, I'd recommend it, even with all nuances of the game in mind. If you like this video, I would be honored if you would subscribe. Thank you for watching.